witches? Today we are doing another masterclass in our series, Reclaim Your Psychic Superpowers. I'm so excited because this class is really a huge foundational element in order to reestablish our psychic powers. This is a gift tool that I didn't really know about until about 2 years ago. And I had been living a lot of my life not owning my crown chakra. One of the things I learned is that you can't get anywhere in life if you're not in control of your own destiny, if you're not in control of your own crown, and if you're not running the show. So one of these amazing psychic tools that I'm going to teach you today is about who is in our crown. Are we in our own crown? Why do we allow others to jump into our crowns? And what does it mean to take that back, and how can we do it? And at the end of this class, I will walk us through a meditation where we can really re-own our crowns. And it's something that you can do on a daily basis to really make sure that you are in alignment with your true self. So with that being said, let's just start off with the basics. So what is the crown chakra? So the crown chakra sits here and just a little bit over your head, and it is the energy center that connects us to our higher selves. So it is the part that creates a balance between body and spirit. Now, if we're not occupying that, if our essence, our energy, our space is not occupying the space between our physical bodies and our spiritual bodies, that means that somebody else is. And if somebody else is operating that space, they're influencing the information that flows from your spirit self into your physical self. So if your spirit has some information for you, or a direction, or wanting you to make a left or a right or a move somehow in your life, and there's somebody sitting in this psychic space, you're going to get filtered information, if any information, from your higher self. So what ends up happening is a lot of times we have programming that sits in this space. Sometimes it's psychic beings. Sometimes it's our family members and our parents or our siblings. Sometimes it's our friends and our community that can occupy that space. And what we're going to learn today is how do we kick everybody out of that space, because nobody belongs there except for you. You don't want anybody in between your physical body and your spiritual body. Now, this is a psychic gift and a psychic skill to really cultivate, and it's not something that's talked a lot about in yoga or any other spiritual practice, in meditation or whatnot. We always talk about connecting to our higher selves, but the problem is what happens if our connection is interrupted by something else, by some other energy? And this is a teaching that really revolutionized my life a few years ago when I learned about this. So just to give you a little bit of background on my experience with my crown chakra, I was just like everybody else. I grew up in a society that, told me certain things, and I bought into those, and I allowed society's expectations to really sit in my crown. So, for example, in my early 20s, I bought into the programming that, as a woman, you have to do everything in your power to avoid needing a man. And that means financially, emotionally, you got to do everything to really just be independent and separate yourself. And so I went on a quest to do that. And I did. I succeeded. By the time I was 30 years old, I had accomplished most of the dreams that I had. I had owned my own house. I owned my dream car, a sports convertible, and I was very happy with my relationship life, with my friendships, everything. I felt very independent, very much on my own. But what was funny was I started to feel this deep sense of depression and separation from my higher self, where I no longer felt like I had guidance or a path. And it took me a year or two to go through a lot of spiritual experiences, a lot of spiritual development, for me to realize that, holy shit, I'm not actually in my crown space, that my communication between my body and spirit is being interrupted by another being. And in my case, it was a very dark, for lack of a better term, demonic force that really sat in my space and was controlling me and controlling my behavior. And once I handled that, and that's a story for another day, I'll tell you all about that kind of exorcism that happened. And it's a very, very powerful way to clean your space. If that's something that's happening to you, reach out to me and I can definitely help you with that. But that's another topic for another day. But what's interesting is, so I re-owned my crown, I went on with my life, and I met my future husband, and I popped right out of my crown again as soon as I met him, and I got into a space of, wow, okay, if I'm getting married, then this is what I need to do. I need to get married. I need to have children. I need to set myself up so that I can work from home. I can do all of these things, and all of this other programming came in my space. Well, of course, the way that life has it and the way that my spiritual path has always been that as soon as something is off, I get a very hard lesson on how to correct that. And for me, I went through a series of miscarriages in my professional life, in my career space, in my spiritual life, a lot of things just not working out for me. And it took a lot of hardship for me to realize, oh my gosh, here it is again. I have stepped out of my crown chakra and I've allowed society's expectations to sit in my space, the expectations and competition with my friends and my family and my community all just sort of settled right into my crown. And I wasn't living in my crown. So my intuition was interrupted. My psychic connection was interrupted. My inner guidance, my inner map was no longer there for me. And that was very painful. So I tell you all of this because maybe you resonate with this experience. Maybe you're one of these people who is operating on society's programming of what you think you should and shouldn't do, by what age you should be doing this or that. Or perhaps you are operating on your family's information and you are pursuing a career that you want, or you're getting married or doing things for your family that maybe isn't quite in alignment with your true self. Maybe you're operating on other types of information. Maybe there is a control being that's sitting between your higher self and you, and it's not letting you have, fulfilling relationships. Maybe you're dating the same kind of person over and over and over again, and you just can't get to a place where you're understanding and learning those lessons. Maybe you're having the same karmic experience over and over again. I've noticed a lot with my clients in readings that people who have the same lessons that they just learn over and over and over again and just can't complete that karma completely tend to have somebody sitting in their crown chakra. So today is really about understanding what is going on in our crown chakras and where we are in our space so that we can be full and authentic versions of ourselves. So the first question I really want to ask you is, if you close your eyes and you take a moment and you just sit with yourself, and if you ask yourself, where am I? Okay? Where am I in my body? Where am I in my spirit? Where am I in my mind? You might be surprised that a lot of you will find that you're actually not even in your body, that you're sitting up top over here, and you can't even really feel the toes. You can't even feel the bottom of your feet because you're not actually in your space. Sometimes that happens a lot if we have something in our crown chakra that isn't us, because it becomes really painful to be in energy that's not ours. And if it's not ours, then we're like, oop, I don't want to be here, so we pop out. But the problem is if we're not in our bodies, we're not experiencing life, and we're not actually living our authentic self. So we can't be powerful, we can't be in our power, and we can't be the queens of our lives. So if you're one of those people that's just popped out, no worries. At the end of this class, we will go into a meditation where we'll resolve that very, very easily. But if you're one of the people that maybe you are in your body, but maybe you're only on the left side or the right side, maybe you are, half in, half out. Maybe you don't know where you are. Maybe you close your eyes and you're just like, I have no idea where I am. All of these are symptoms of somebody sitting in your crown chakra. So let's just talk about it. Why would somebody sit in your crown chakra, right? Well, one of the things that we don't realize is that as humans, we are incredibly capable of manifesting anything that we want. We have a lot of attention on ourselves from the spirit world because we actually have a body. We actually were born, which takes a lot. If any of you have struggled with infertility or constant miscarriages or anything along those lines, you know that it's actually quite a miracle to be born in the world, to bring a child into the world. And a lot of things have to line up very perfectly, and especially on the spiritual realm. So there's not that many spirits that are capable of manifesting a body to bring into this lifetime. And if they do manifest, to come into adulthood as well. So if you are in a body, you were alive, you're watching this video, you are one of the top tier spirits of happiness, of abundance, of manifestation abilities. And so because of that, because you are so powerful and because you have this body, this vehicle that can create so much in this lifetime, there's a lot of attention from the spirit world, a lot of good attention and a lot of bad attention and a lot of neutral attention. And because of that, it's kind of painful to be in our bodies sometimes. So we pop out. And the moment that we pop out, the moment we let go of control, somebody's like, that's a really nice crown chakra. Maybe I can create things that I want through that person. And then somebody will come right in and just set up shop, lay out their stuff, hang out, unpack, all of their toiletries and just decide to make a little house in your crown chakra. And then when that happens, it makes it really difficult for us to have clear communication. And sometimes it's so painful that we would rather just ignore it and go on with our lives and just allow somebody to sit in that space. Reclaiming it to kick somebody out of that crown chakra can be a little bit of a painful experience, especially when you're new to it. So I just want to point that out for anybody who maybe has been trying to kick somebody out of their space and it's been challenging. And at the end of this talk, I'm going to give you some tools in the meditation space to really own that. So we're not in our heads, we're not in our crowns, so somebody else sets up shop and we never get back into our space again until we claim our psychic gifts. So why would family members want to climb into our heads? Well, that's kind of one of the things that families do. One of the dynamics and why family is just such a difficult energy sometimes is because they're meant to come into our space and to mess around, mess up our rooms, mess up our chakras, mess up our energy fields, and create lessons for us to learn how to re-own our space. It's kind of like when you're a little kid and if you had siblings, maybe your sibling would come in your room, touch your stuff, move things around, and it would piss you off. And you would say, get out of my room and slam the door and create a strong boundary because your room was your sanctuary and nobody should be in it. Well, we need to start doing that with our psychic selves and our spiritual selves as well. That our bodies, our spirits, our psychic energies are our own personal sanctuaries, and nobody should be in that room. Not brothers and sisters, not family, not friends, not your boss. Bosses tend to have a huge ability to step right into that crown chakra and make you do what they want rather than what you want. So we don't want somebody in our space messing up our space. So we got to kick them out of there, right? And we need to understand why we let them in there. So for example, with the boss situation, a lot of times we have fears and concerns and anxieties around what happens if we don't have a job, or what happens if my boss doesn't like me, or will I be able to eat? Will I be able to survive? Will I be able to, live this life? And so a lot of times, because of those fears, we hand over our crown chakras to our bosses, and they're very happy to do it because it's like, oh, great, this is a very easy way that I can program this person. I can program Alex and make her do what I want and make her work overtime and not care about her family and be completely imbalanced and just do everything for me because I'm very demanding and that's what I need from her. So I'm just going to hop right into that space and take control. Works out great for them, and for you, it sucks because, all of a sudden you find yourself working way longer than you're getting paid, and, the things in your life are becoming very imbalanced. So that's another example of how somebody can come in and take over our space. And then the final example I'll give you is friendships. There's this saying that you are an average of the 5 people that you hang out with. And I think that speaks directly to what happens in our crown chakra when we hang around people and we don't have strong boundaries. We notice that we start to blend and take on the energies and the personalities and the motivations and the values of the people that we are around. And what that actually means is that our friends tend to hop into our heads a lot, and we tend to hop into our friends' heads. And we like to make sure that we feel safe, that we're all on the same page, that we all have the same values, and we start to assimilate that way. There's a lot of benefits to doing that, right? There's a sense of safety, of community, the friendship gets strengthened, there's a bond that happens. But at the same time, what that happens is now we've given over our control of our own crown chakras to our friendships, and all of a sudden, they're the ones who are making the decisions for us. And that's not healthy and that's not good. And like I said at the beginning, we cannot be women in our power if we give over our crown chakras to anybody, no matter who it is, even if they need it. And that also just brings me to another point, because I know a lot of us as women, we tend to give over our power to help people. And we sort of think of it as it's a really great way to heal others. And we kind of pride ourselves in, wow, look at me helping these people by giving others my energy. And I really want to speak to that because that's something that I did for many, many, many years. And people would betray that trust and wouldn't really be able to receive the gifts with full gratitude, and it would create a lot of resentment within me. And after many years of just playing this game back and forth, I've come to realize that actually giving somebody my crown or my power in any way is actually one of the worst things that I can do, not only for myself, but for the other person and for humanity, right? When we give our power to anybody for whatever reason, even our children, for whatever reason, we are depleting humanity of its ultimate potential. We are depleting ourselves of our ultimate potential. And we really can't help other people when we give them our energy. The only way that we can really help others is if we stay in our power first, and then we are able to share our information and our skills and our wisdom so that they can find their own power, right? So if we are enabling somebody to take power from other people, we're not helping them. It's the whole teach a man to fish, analogy, that if we go out there and just give people things without them cultivating the skills for themselves, we're actually just contributing to the problem. And that's something that it took me a long time to learn. So I want to say that to all the women out there who give their energy over just very freely and, feel good about that. I want you to sort of sit with that idea of, is that very helpful? Is that actually helping you? Is it actually helping others? Or would it be more powerful if you contained your energy, if you owned your own crown, and then shared with people how you did that so that they can do that themselves? So that's kind of the purpose of this video for me, is I really want to share with you all what I have learned through this whole crown owning process. Let's go ahead and close your eyes and make sure you're sitting in a chair. If you watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm a big proponent of sitting in a chair with your feet flat on the ground in order for you to connect fully to your psychic self. I have another video that I talk about that and why that's super important. But for now, just make sure that you find yourself comfortable, seated in a chair, close your eyes, take a couple breaths, and we'll begin.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is Witch in Womb, and today we are going to do a meditation that is going to help us kick out anybody who's in our space, anyone who is occupying our crown chakra, and we're going to learn a tool so that we can reclaim and re-own our crowns. So just to get ready, why don't you find yourself in a nice seated position. Make sure that your feet are touching the floor and your back is up against the back of a chair, and that you feel very comfortable. and it always helps to be able to be comfortable throughout the entire meditation. And so as we settle in, why don't you just say hello to your body, pat your legs, rub your arms together, your hands together, and anything just to acknowledge the body and say thank you for what a great job it's done today, and the fact that it's gotten here, and it brought you here today to do this meditation so that you could re-own your crown. And just go ahead and take a couple deep breaths with your eyes closed. Give yourself a big inhale and exhale. One more time, breathe in through the nose and a loud exhale through the mouth. Letting everything go. And one final time, inhale and exhale. Good job. And just find yourself comfortable. If your mind is wandering, don't worry, let it wander. If your body's saying this is uncomfortable or wants to move, just allow it to be what it is. Don't judge it. Just see it. Just notice it. And we're going to begin by just imagining a carousel. The kind of carousel you would see at an old-timey carnival. Golden, gilded, with lots of carvings all around it. And just moving round and round. What's inside this carousel? Are they horses that are bobbing up and down? Maybe mermaids? Maybe trees? Maybe some sort of other animal? Just paint a picture for yourself and use your imagination. It can be whatever you want it to be and represent whatever you want it to represent. And then just set the intention that this carousel is your crown chakra. That it lives right on top of your head and connects your body and your spirit together. It's the portal through which your higher self can communicate to you. And just let that fill with whatever energy is currently in your space right now. Maybe you're seeing a lot of fun activity. Maybe you're imagining a lot of fun and laughter. Maybe it's really dark and you can't really tell what's going on. Just notice what colors are showing up for you. What shapes. What sounds. Are there a lot of people in this carousel, or is it only you? Or is there nobody occupying it right now? Just know that whatever information you get, whatever you see, whatever you're imagining, just allow that to be your truth. Don't let yourself question it. Just accept it for what it is for this brief meditation. You'll have all the time in the world to question it later. But just right now, in this moment, just allow that to be the truth. And just see what's going on with the carousel. Is it moving? Is it spinning round and round? Maybe it looks a little bit broken down or worn out. Just notice that whatever condition your carousel is in, just notice that it is also the condition of your crown chakra, because right now they are one and the same. And just have some awareness around what's happening in your crown space. For some of us, it might be really crowded. Maybe you see your family members on the carousel. Maybe you see your lover, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Maybe you see your boss or colleagues from work. Or maybe you see your children. Just notice that who's there, and just allow them to be there for right now. A little bit later on in this meditation, we are going to kick them out and give them a nice place to go and create some strong boundaries. But for now, just watch them. See what they're doing. Are they laughing? Are they playing? Are they sad? Is it hard to see them? Do they notice you noticing them? Or are they oblivious to your attention on them right now? Let each answer be your answer. Now, with our crown chakras, what we really ideally want is to have a beautiful golden carousel. One that spins in a beautiful rhythm that feels really good, and that is basically completely saturated with your energy. In a healthy chakra, we don't want to see anybody else on our carousel. We only want us to be on the carousel. And if it's not a moving carousel, we want to make sure that we get that thing started and moving so that it can spin information from our higher self into our body so we can make good choices in our lives and have proper information about what to do next and how to resolve that argument or this resistance or how to manifest this item that we want in our life or this love or this job, or this money. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just acknowledge anyone who might be having a hard time seeing their carousel. And if that's you, what we want to do is just walk over to the right, and you're going to notice that there is a wall to your right. And you're going to put your hand on the wall and you're going to feel around for a light switch. And as you do that, your fingers come across the light switch. And when you're ready, you're going to turn on the lights. And if you hadn't seen what your carousel looked like before, simply by doing this light switch, by turning it on, you're going to be able to see your carousel illuminated. Instantly, your crown chakra is shown before you. And this also works for anybody who maybe was seeing their crown chakra, was seeing the carousel, but maybe you couldn't see a part of it, or the backside, or the top or the bottom of it. You can go ahead and put your hand on that light switch and turn it on, flip it up, so that you can see all sides, all angles, all dimensions of your crown chakra. And now that the lights are turned on, we can see clearly who's in there. You might be able to see people, you might be able to see energy or colors or maybe textures like a foggy texture or little dots or little M&Ms. Or maybe fairies, maybe you see aliens, maybe you see spiders or snakes. Whatever you see, we're going to spin them out of our space. And to do that, what we're going to do is take our psychic hand, our imaginary hand, and we're going to start spinning the carousel. Feel free to imagine it any way you want to. Maybe you imagine it like a little top that you spin on the ground. Maybe you run alongside it and push it as you run around it. Maybe you blow on it to get it to go faster and faster. Or maybe there's a little fast switch that regulates how fast or how slow it goes, and maybe you crank it all the way up. However you're imagining it, what we want to do is get the carousel spinning so fast that it just flings everybody who's in it out. Like a washer machine, it just flings them all out, propels them out, so that only your energy can occupy that space. So go ahead and start spinning. Let it get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until you almost can't even see it. It just is so fast. It almost becomes invisible. And just watch all of those energies fling out. And as you spin it, I want you to say this mantra over and over and over again. Mine. This is mine. This is my space. This is my chakra. This is mine. This is mine. When we're little kids, we're often taught to share when we start going through the phase of screaming, mine, mine, my toy, my mommy, my teacher, my car, my room. And it's usually around the time when we're deprogrammed from really owning things and learning to share things. And oftentimes this gets translated into our energetic spaces. But the truth is, the only thing that we really can own is ourselves, our bodies, our chakras, our energy fields, our psychic space. They're all ours. We have the right to own them, and we have the right to have complete and utter 100% occupation, self-occupation. So feel free to just really indulge yourself in that little 3-year-old self. Allow yourself to say, this is mine, as you spin out everything that is in that space. And just notice if any emotions come up for you while you spin that out. Maybe there's some resistance that comes up. Maybe some fear. Maybe some excitement and joy. Just know that any emotions that come up when you claim your own space actually aren't yours. It's the energy that is spinning out of there. The people that are spinning out, that don't want to go, that have been having a lot of fun on your carousel. There you go. That's looking really good, you guys. Just keep spinning. And when you feel you're ready, you can start to slow down. If you need more time spinning, just pause this meditation and keep going until everybody is out of your space. But if you're starting to feel that this is complete, go ahead and just stop spinning and allow the carousel to slow down to its natural rhythm. And let it just slow down to a really nice pace that feels good for you. Not too slow, because we want to make sure we get our psychic information. And not too fast. We want to make sure the body has time to assimilate that information. So just allow it to circle around at a pace that is really steady and nice for you. And you'll know it. You can play around with how fast or how slow. Maybe you can use percentages. Maybe 50% feels a little bit fast, so you can go down to 30. Or maybe it's a little slow for you and you want to bump it up to 70%. Just go ahead and set the pace of whatever you want. And now we're going to set up some energetic boundaries. Now that there's nobody in your space anymore, we want to fill the space with our own energy. And then we want to protect that. And the way that we do that is by going ahead and walking right into the middle of the carousel. So when you're ready, go ahead and walk towards your carousel. You can imagine a little tiny version of yourself jumping in and walking right into the middle, right where the control center is. And you're going to notice in the middle of that carousel, there's a little invisible door. And you'll see it. As soon as you notice it, it becomes not invisible. It shows up. And there's a little knob on it, and you're going to pull open that door. And inside, you're going to see 2 switches. One switch that says fill, and one switch that says protect. We're going to focus on the first switch, the fill switch. This is going to fill your carousel with all of your higher self energy, all of your information and wisdom. And that looks like golden light. So when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and just flip that switch to fill. And you're going to watch your higher self pour in all of your essence into this carousel, into every animal, into every step, into every crack, into every pole, to every mirror, every sculpture, until the entire carousel is beaming with golden light. And we're going to go ahead and leave that switch on. We always want it to be in the fill station. Because when we fill our own carousel, our own chakra with our own energy, that means there's no space for anybody else to come and ride. Which means we won't have anybody else's information except for our own to make decisions from and to be connected to. So just watch that fill and just know that that's going to continue to fill for the duration of the meditation and the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and the rest of your month. And if ever you feel like you're not very sure about what to do, or you might have confusion about what your next step is, just know you can always come back to this switch and make sure that it's on fill. So now we're going to turn our attention to the second switch, the protect switch. And when you're ready, you're going to flip that switch on, and you're going to see a golden fence And you're going to see a golden room surround your carousel. Big giant golden walls shoot up around it, a ceiling above it, a floor below it. And this golden room is basically a safeguard for anybody else's energy. It helps keep other people's energy out, and it helps keep your energy in. This is what we call a psychic boundary. And just watch that room get really strong. Allow the walls and ceiling and floor to be really thick. You can even make it as thick as the walls of a safe at a bank. Maybe as sturdy and as heavy duty. Just allow that to really flesh out and really come to the forefront of your mind. And then you'll notice in one of the walls there's a door. And that's the door that you're going to walk out of and walk into whenever you need to access your crown chakra. So when you're ready, go ahead and walk towards that door. Go ahead and open that door and close that room behind you. And as you close the door, you'll notice in your hand a sign that says, "Do not enter." Much like a sign a child would write on their door, on their sanctuary, to their bedroom when they were little. Go ahead and hang that sign right on the outside of the door and claim this room. Maybe you even want to write your name on it. My room. Mine. My chakra. My space. Mine. And when you're ready, you're going to walk away from that door and take 3 deep breaths before opening your eyes. And so it is. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and stretch out your legs and just know that you have owned your crown chakra. Thank you so much for listening to this meditation. If you like this, we have many more available on witchandwomb.com. So please take a moment and check us out. We look forward to meditating with you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. So how was that for you? Did you find it easy to remove people from your crown space? Did you find it hard? Was there a lot of resistance? Was there a lot of pushback? Were the people that were in your crown space kind of pissed off that you were, taking back your own space? Were you able to put the do not enter sign on your door? I'm so proud of all of you for really making this huge step in your growth, huge step in your evolution, and in reclaiming your inner witch powers, your inner psychic powers. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And if there was anything rough about that experience, let me know, because there are a lot of tools and a lot of things that can really help ease that for you. And I'll be doing future videos that will address some of those. But if you're particularly having like a hard time, message me. I'm so happy to help. My purpose here is to really help women reclaim their psychic gifts. So if you're one of those that just, wasn't feeling it or something was just off, let me know and I can really help out with that. But if you're one of those who had a really amazing and empowering experience, congratulations. This is how we can reclaim our crowns on a daily, a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. From the story that I told a little bit earlier about my path in my 20s and 30s and how I kept losing my crown, if I would have done this on a daily basis or at least weekly or monthly basis, I don't think that would have ever happened to me. So now you guys are all gifted with this tool to use where you can use it as often as you need to. So whenever things get kind of confusing or you're unsure about which way to go, which way to not go, if I should date this person, if I should take this job, if I should rest, if I should be active, whatever your questions, this is one of the best ways to get clear with yourself. And if you use it often, you're going to see that your life is going to change in miraculous ways. And you're going to feel so much better about who you are and what you're doing in this life. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this master class, and we'll see you next time.